We're going to start with tight ends. Then we're going to go to wide receivers, and there's like 15 of them on the list, so God help me. And then we're going to go 2 deep on the offensive line, 5 and 5. So let's roll. Tight ends up first, Bailey.
Matt, I'm just going to run through your list because a lot of these lists are going to get pretty extensive, especially as we get to the wide receiver position. Because Matt, as you know, and Bobby, as you know, you could put 20 of them on there. But Matt, at the tight end position, you got both the honorable mention. You got Sean Embry, and then at 4, you got John Embry. Kind of talk about your honorable mention of 4 real quick. Go ahead.
The Embry Bros, and look, let's just not even do the numbers anymore. Let's just talk about the players.
Okay. Absolutely.
The Embry Bros. I mean, John was obviously older and part of that 86 team that kind of turned the tide with Lance Carl up there and Sal Lessie. And then, Sean played a little bit afterwards, a little bit bigger, but a great blocker at the point of attack. And I don't know how you don't have the Embry brothers on the list.
No doubt. Bobby, how you feel about the Embry brothers on Matt's list here? Go ahead.
I love them both. I think they deserve to be on it. They both deserve to be talked about. So it's a good call for sure.
Yeah, definitely. 100% agree with you. Let's go ahead and move down. Christian Furia. Matt, go ahead and talk about that. Him, I think, a hell of a player in Colorado.
Just the next 3 guys, in my opinion, Christian, Klopp, and then obviously the fucking man, DG. Mm-hmm. They all could do one thing on top of catch the ball, and that's block the shit out of you. And I've never seen anybody block like Dan Graham at the point of attack at tight end. But Christian and Klopp were at close number 1, number 2, number 3. And, Christian Furia played a long time in the NFL. Him and Dan actually played together in New England and won a Super Bowl, which is pretty cool. Matt Lepsis is another guy who played tight end and then moved to tackle in the NFL, another great player. So, I think it starts and stops with Dan, but Klopp was a hell of a player. Quinn Simnewski was a hell of a player, marred by injury, but a guy, when he was healthy, was a hell of a player and had a good NFL career. So, Bob, obviously, him and Dan had a fucking connection like few quarterbacks and receivers have had. So I'll let Bobby kind of elaborate on that part.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, Christian was a great player. Fourier was a stud. Klopp was a stud in his own right. They both were, but I don't know how anybody in their right mind could argue that Dan's not number 1. That dude, like you said, Ches, Dan was so well-rounded, man. I mean, he was like an extra tackle in the run game, and he was like a wide receiver in the passing game at his size, which is just, that equals freak of nature. And that's exactly what Dan was. He could get open against linebackers. He could physically beat up corners. He could outrun almost anybody when the ball was in his hands. Mm-hmm. Just the ultimate football dude, right? Like he was a great route runner. He caught everything. But you could always rely on him, right? When we were running the ball well, right? He was never going to be the guy that bitched and moaned like, oh, why aren't we throwing it? No, he was just going to get mean and nasty and kick somebody's ass across the line of scrimmage and help us move the ball. If you look down the list of guys that have played at the University of Colorado, the history of Colorado, I think Dan's got to be in that conversation at the top of the list.
Dan might be on the fucking Mount Rushmore, homie.
I think he deserves it, man.
He's so good. And look, I had the honor of playing with him in the NFL too with the Broncos, and it didn't, nothing changed. Whether you're at 9-on-7 in Boulder in 2001 or you're 9-on-7 with the Broncos in 2009, somebody's getting fucked up. Somebody's getting mashed. And that's Dan Graham really hung his hat on that. And it's one thing, the complete tight end. I think Gronkowski's the best tight end that's ever walked because he's complete.
Facts.
I thought Shannon Sharp was a great receiving tight end, but I was always partial to Ben Coates when I was growing up because he could block your ass into the ground too. So, yeah, man, that's a tough list to break, and it'll never be topped by 89. That is Mount Rushmore, Dan Graham. We salute you. All right, let's move on to the worst and best situation we got here with the receivers. Holy shit, bro. I'm just going to start reading names, homie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matt, why don't we just run down the list real quick, or we can go by threes here, Matt. Kind of the bottom 3 names here, kind of all from different eras in Colorado football here. You got Laviska, Laviska Shenault, Ray Caruth, and Charles Johnson. Matt, go ahead and talk about your bottom three here on your list. Go ahead.
I mean, Laviska's a Pac-12 guy, but a great player in Colorado history. One of the iconic plays against Nebraska to beat him in Lincoln. I don't know how you keep him off the list. Mm-hmm. I had to put Ray Caruth on. I know that from a moral standpoint, people might have a problem with this, but go watch any game from like 94, 95, 96, and 21 is murdering. I mean, just crushing everyone. That was fucked up. I shouldn't have said that. My bad. But he's literally out there crushing everybody. Like, he was a hell of a player. Charles Johnson, God rest his soul, great player. On the other side of Michael Westbrook, on that turf, I mean, dude, holy shit. Look at those guys run. And then after that, you've got some guys that we both played with, and DJ Hackett and Derek McCoy, guys like that. I got Darren Shiverini on this list. I thought Shiv was a hell of a player at CU. Nelson Spruce, who stud. In an era where we couldn't win a damn game consistently, 22 was out there getting 10, 12 catches a week. And then the top three, in my opinion, you got Lance Carl and Scotty McKnight, guys like that at the bottom of the list as well. Michael Westbrook, Travis Hunter, Mike Pritchard. I mean, I don't see I can go wrong with guys like that. You know what I'm saying? So, who did I miss, BP? Like, I feel like there's so many good players at this position in Colorado history. In no particular order, I think 81 is probably at the top of the list if you were ranking them. But people forget how versatile Mike Pritchard was. And, I mean, Mike Pritchard had a couple of games where he rushed for like 150 yards. So, run with that, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I like the list for sure. I think Westbrook's at the top. Pritch was great. He deserves to be up there. Obviously, Travis deserves to be up there. Dude was just different.
Incredible.
One guy the name that jumps out that's not on the list. I mean, JB Bloomer's not on there.
I got Bloom as our returner, so we can sneak
okay.
it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, LC Lance was a great player. It's hard, but I think again, I agree with what you said morally, but Ray was a ball player, man. When he was playing,
I want to apologize for saying what I said. I didn't mean to do that.
But he was a hell of a player, and again, like you said, like Hackett was a great player. Derek McCoy was a great player, but when you just look at the overall landscape of things, right, Westbrook's got to be at the top of the list because I mean he was just.
And it's almost like, think about it like packaging the groups together. Like you had Westbrook, Charles Johnson, and Christian Fourier. That was a skill position group with, by the way, Cordell and fucking Rashawn Salam.
Right.
Holy shit. Then you package like our years together where in 01 we had, the dropping dimes to Dan and Derek McCoy and Matt Brunson and fucking Roman Holloway. I got Rome here on as one of our returners as well. Rome was huge in the passing game. So Klatt in 03, 04, and 05, 03 really when he had Hackett and McCoy and Pinky Donahue and the guys like that. So there's always Joe Kloppenstein and Klatt and Quincy Newski. So it's almost like the position groups and the groups of guys need to be brought into this as well.
Yeah, and I think another thing to mention about McCoy, right? When you look at, I think Derek deserves a lot of praise, right? Because if you go back to 01, right, he wasn't really in the mix until Minardi blew his knee out.
Yeah.
Right. And
John Minardi is another guy we don't talk about enough. He was a fucking stud.
Great player. But Derek was young and was kind of thrown into the mix, not probably unexpectedly because of injuries, right? And he played his ass off as a young guy during that 01 season.
Big plays, bro. I mean, big plays against Nebraska, big plays against Texas in the Big 12 title game, huge plays the next year in 02. And in 03, when he was a senior, him and Hackett arguably were the best two receivers in the damn country as a duo. So
I mean, I can sit here and tell you I threw a go route to McCoy against Texas in the Big 12 championship game, and he went up over the top of Quentin Jammer and just took it right off the top of his helmet.
Just straight out jumped his ass. I mean, when you got three legs, you can jump that high.
But Shiv,
I love you, D.
Shiv deserves to be up there too. Shiv was a hell of a player in college. Great player in college.
Hey, think about guys like Phil Savoy. Phil Savoy was a great possession receiver up there for the bus for a lot of years. So, again, this list is hard. I know we're going to miss some guys. Please inform us on those we've missed.
So going back in the day, Chaz, what position was Bobby Anderson labeled?
I think, but we're starting from like 86 on. So
Oh, okay, my bad.
I think Bobby was like a flanker.
Okay, all right. I didn't know what the years when we started. All right,
But if it says flanker next to your name, we're gonna have to do a different team. All right, now the big uglies. At the group that I went against a ton in college. I didn't play offensive line at CU. I played defensive line. So this is I got some personal knowledge on this one, and I may miss a couple of guys here because there's only 10 of them. We could put about 30 of them up here, but my starters are Victor Rogers, Andre Gerard, Jay Lewingberg, Chris Naoli, and Nate Solter.
I have zero.
My backup 5 are Wilder, Columbus, David Bakhtiari, Jordan Seaton, and Derek West. I know I missed guys. Bates isn't on that list. Probably should be. He played a ton of football. You know, there's guys on there that we missed. So I will say this though. I think that the tight side in 01 of Dre, Vic, and Dan was, in my opinion, the best tight side in CU history. Like if Vic didn't have the injury problems he had, I think he's a first, second, or third round draft pick. So I don't know. Run with that. You played behind these guys, bro. I had to play against Dre and Vic every day, and it made me such a better player, dude. I mean, having to go against them every day made Saturday like a cakewalk.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree with you with that statement that those three on the tight side were the best to do it. I mean, we've talked about Dan, but Dre and Vic, you know, those two guys walking out of the huddle, lining up next to each other every snap. I mean, they were nasty, dude.
Dan. You get Dan.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like if you're a 3 technique and a 7 technique or a 1 technique and a 5, holy shit, bro! One of you's getting double teamed and you're losing.
Yeah.
Period.
But there were so many good players, right? I mean, even in very limited time too, because he transferred in. Wayne Lucier played his ass off.
And that was a great player. Yep. The glue of that line, bro.
Yeah, and the huge thing is when Wayne transferred in, that allowed us to move Dre to guard.
I was just getting ready to say that, dude, because he played center his whole junior campaign. He was the center. We couldn't find a guy to play guard next to him.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, Marwan became a hell of a player. Bates was a very good player. You mentioned Soldier. Who was the other really big kid? Ryan Miller?
Ryan Miller. Yeah, went to Columbine. Yeah. I actually worked with Ryan Miller for a lot of years. He was a really good football player, too, yeah. He was part of that group that transitioned us into the Pac-12.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I like Jordan Seaton. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's going to, you know, obviously just get better and better and better.
I mean, shit, bro. I think if Jordan stays on the path he's on, even if, let's say, God forbid, like this is Prime's last year and he transfers to Alabama or some shit, because I keep hearing fucking people talking shit like that's going to happen, I still think he's the number 1 pick in the draft, bro. Like, I was around Jake Long when he was the number 1 pick in Miami, and it's just there's something about those left tackles that can play 15 years. Hey, if you got a chance to get one of those guys, you get them.
Yeah, so no, you're right. Yeah, but Lewinberg and Naoli and Derek West, I mean, there are so many good players. You know, we were just fortunate to play with a couple of probably the best that ever did it.
It really gives me a ton of respect for. I feel like we were the end of the McCartney experiment. You know, because GB came in and Coach Bill was there all the time. He wasn't the coach, obviously, but GB obviously took a lot of what Bill did and reinstituted it on top of RTD and so many other things. But if you think about like when I got done in 04, bro, the 05 season ended in travesty. We know this. And then after that, it was hard sailing for a lot of years. So I like to think that like from 86 to really 04 was like the golden era of fucking Colorado football, bro. And we just happened to be there at a time where you were a great player. I feel like I was pretty good. We were surrounded by greatness and everybody fed off of each other. And it was a very special time. In no way, shape, or form, Colorado Nation, Prime Sexuals, am I trying to isolate either groups? I'm trying to bring us together to give the Prime Sexuals more of a history lesson on the guys that came before you And also, like, there's a couple of guys on this list that are Coach Prime's guys. So we can't exclude them either. They're part of the family. So it's everybody can come together and you see just the overall greatness from top to bottom. We got the defense next week, and boy, oh boy, are there some fucking monsters on that side of the ball. Holy hell.
Yeah. You know what's important about what you said too, Chaz, is these what do you call them? Prime sexuals?
Prime sexuals.
Prime sexuals. I mean, it's great that they're all here and they're bleeding black and gold, but I think you and I are cut from the same cloth where, you don't know where you're going unless you know where it came from. And if if you don't respect it and you don't want to learn it, like I remember when I got here, I wanted to meet every guy that played at CU before me. And I'm not saying it's the CU kids. I think it's a different athlete these days than it was
that's true.
25 years ago. Because I wanted to learn the history. I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to meet every guy that took a snap at CU before I got there. Right. But I think that galvanized and made us appreciate what we had a hell of a lot more than the era that we're in right now of college football, of kids not really understanding where the program has been, where it's come from, who got it to certain places. Because then that just builds respect for what you're doing every day.
Amen to that, brother. And then on top of that, to elaborate on it before we get you out of here, and thank you so much for coming on the show, Bob.
Yeah.
The standard. Like, I felt a debt when I got there to the day I left to make sure that guys that I didn't play with, like Matt Russell and Ryan Olson and Greg Jones and fucking Art Walker and Canavis and Big Al and all the defensive studs that I grew up watching and loving, that I could walk into the room and be their equal one day because of what I put on the field. And that, I'm not saying that's not happening in Boulder. I'm saying that back in the day where you went one place usually and stayed, and you transferred, so it's a little bit different for you. But I would say that your home is called Boulder, Colorado. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of camaraderie and that standard that's set by the guys before you, which is what Shador and Travis and Prime have done now with the new CU, they've now set a standard that needs to be reached and overcome, because the standard is not 9 wins and losing in the Alamo Bowl. The standard is championships and go play in the playoff. That's what the standard in Boulder needs to be. So they've set the tone for this era after the tone had been set for our era long ago. So we just need to mash all this shit together, and I think it'll be really, really successful moving forward. So.